All right. So, state, you're not calling any fingerprint person now, are you?
We, not at this time, Judge.
All right, so then what we'll do is we'll proceed with your other witnesses, and then I'll hear that motion when we're at that point. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So we're gonna go back on the record in 2021 CR 5583, State of Texas versus Carlos Romero. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Hank Wilkins and Daniel Escobar for the state. We're ready, Judge.
All right, defense.
Cornelius Cox.
All right. Yes. All right, state, call your next witness.
We're gonna hear.
Yes, we're going to hear that before it's presented to me. Before the state is calling any type of fingerprint expert, I'm assuming that the state is intending for this witness to perhaps say that these fingerprints match whatever. What I'm saying is I allowed the state to go ahead and get his fingerprints so that we won't have a stoppage in the bench trial, but that is not coming into evidence just yet. So what I want to do is have the state call the rest of their witnesses. And when we get to the point where his fingerprints are an issue, then I'll have a hearing on whether or not any fingerprint testimony from this witness is that Ms. Vore is coming in.
Thank you.
All right. You may call your witness.
Your Honor, we call CSI David Sarabia.
Okay. All right, you take a seat here, please, and remove your cap. All right, if you can raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, you can lower your hand. Make sure you keep your voice up so that the state and the defense can hear you. If you'll state your name for the record, please.
My name is David Sarabia,
And if you could spell your last name.
Sarabia.
All right, state.
Good afternoon, Mr. Sarabia. Can you tell us what your occupation is?
I'm a crime scene investigator with the San Antonio Police Department.
And how long have you been doing that?
A little more than 13 years.
Okay, and can you tell us just generally what your duties are as a crime scene investigator?
We're called out to document crime scenes, preserve any evidence, and process any evidence that we might collect.
Okay, and were you working on August 16th, 2020?
Yes, I was.
Did you write a report that evening?
I did.
Would it help you to have that in front of you to refer to refresh your memory?
Yes, it would.
Judge, can I approach the witness?
Yes.
So on August 16th of 2020, where were you called out to?
I was called out to an apartment complex located at 3400 Salado Creek Drive.
And did you take some photos while you were out there?
Yes, I did.
And Judge, may I approach the witness?
Yes.
So for the purposes of the record, I'm handing you now marking is State's Exhibit 5. Can you tell us what that is?
This is a shot of the photo board that I made for this particular case.
Okay, can you tell us what a photo board is?
A photo board is it's a form that we fill out that shows the case number, or whatever case that we're assigned to, what the location address is, my name, my badge, the date, the time that I started, the time that I arrived at the scene to start photographing, the district that the address occurred in, and which camera and which memory card I used to take these pictures.
Okay, I'm showing you what I'm just now marking as States Exhibit 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Can you tell us what those are?
These are pictures of the doorway of apartment 315, showing the damage done to the door frame.
And these are photos you took,
Yes,
and are those fair and accurate representations of the door that you?
yes, they are.
And is this a fair and accurate representation with the card?
Yes.
Your Honor, pending any objection, I move to admit States Exhibit 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 into evidence.
Have a moment, Judge.
Yes.
No objection.
All right, States Exhibits 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 are admitted without objection.
Judge, may I approach?
Yes.
I'm gonna hand you what I'm marking now as States Exhibit 11. 12. 13. 14. 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Can you tell us what these are?
These are shots of the safe located in the, I believe the bedroom closet. And then views of the inside of the bedroom closet.
And these are photos you took,
Yes,
and are they fair and accurate depictions of the safe and the surrounding, the area surrounding the safe that night?
yes, sir.
Your Honor, pending any objection, I move to admit States Exhibit 11, 12. Thank you. 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15 into evidence.
Have a moment, Judge.
Yes.
Could I take the witness on right there?
Yes.
Okay. So you seeing what's being introduced in the evidence as state exhibit number 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15, correct?
Yes, I believe so. Okay.
You took all those pictures, you photographed. Did you take them? Are they in sequence? Did you take them all at the same time? Did you take them at different times? Doing that
I took them sequentially.
right in sequence.
Yes.
Did you remove during the time that you were taking these photographs? Did you remove any of these items? Did you move anything around? Did you touch anything yourself?
After the, because we first take pictures of the scene as it is. And then if we're searching for additional evidence on top of what we find, then we'll start moving things like that. So I believe in some of those pictures, I think like a blanket was moved or something like that.
Okay, so who's moving? You said that you took these in sequence, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So are you moving these items around yourself or some other person is moving?
It's the crime scene unit, whoever else is responding to the scene with me.
Okay, but I need to know, and with these particular photographs, did you move any of these items around yourself?
I possibly did, yes.
So you don't know.
I do not know, no.
Who approached Judge?
Sure. If you want to ask more questions, you may do that.
Mr. Sarabia, you saw me label these up here, right?
Yes.
Are these, did I label them in the sequence in which you took them?
Probably not. I didn't know for sure. I didn't watch you fill them out, but
So these are not labeled in the sequence in which you took them. They're labeled in the sequence that I labeled.
yes.
Your Honor, I submit these pending any objection as states exhibit 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15.
And I renew my objection, Judge. The issue is not that whether what sequence that the prosecutor put them in. My question to the witness was very direct. Is this a sequence that he took the pictures in? Testified, yes. It can't be unless he moved these items around. So my position, Judge, is that they haven't set the proper credit to these photographs because there's no explanation to what's been moved, how it's been moved. It's supposed to be a crime scene that's supposed to be kept a certain way.
All right. The objection is overruled. States Exhibit 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15 are admitted.
Judge, may I approach?
Yes. And I've reviewed those. If you could just sit them up there with the, next to the court reporter.
I just labeled these states exhibits 16, 17, 18, and 19. Can you take a look at these? Can you just tell me what is states exhibit 16?
It is a picture of a wrench on the safe with the evidence marker.
And what's on the floor in front of the safe?
Another wrench.
So there's two wrenches?
Yes,
Okay. Is there is the safe open or closed?
it's partly open.
Okay.
I believe it was still locked, but it was partially open.
Okay. And is there anything on the front that would allow you to like a mechanism you can manipulate to open the safe?
Yeah, I believe there was a keypad.
And is the keypad visible in that picture?
In this picture, no.
On states exhibit 17, can you tell us what that is?
Yeah, this is the keypad that we believe came from the safe.
Okay, and what evidence marker number is next to that?
Number 10.
And can you tell me what is states exhibit 18?
It is another view of the keypad from the safe.
And what's the evidence marker next to that one?
Number 10.
What is this picture of?
This is a view of, again, the keypad with the evidence marker number 10, just taken further away.
And you took these photos?
Yes, sir.
And are they a fair and accurate depiction of what you saw that night?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, pending any objection, I submit states exhibit 16, 17, 18, and 19.
Objections.
All right, states Exhibit 16, 17, 18, and 19 are admitted without objection. Yes.
So in some of those photographs, there was numbers next to evidence. What can you tell us about those numbers? What are those called? The little,
Evidence markers.
okay. And what does the number 10 signify?
Number 10 signifies the safe keypad.
And that's in your report, that's number E10.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Why is it important to put those evidence markers next to certain pieces of evidence?
Because it identifies which items that we're going to physically collect.
And does it also let you know where you found it?
Yes.
And so is it in your report where you found E10, the safe keypad?
Yeah, I believe it says it was found in the closet.
Okay, in the closet. Was it attached to the safe?
No, it wasn't.
And did you have an opportunity to dust the check the safe keypad for fingerprints?
Yes, I did.
And how did you do that?
Using brush and black powder.
Have you been trained to do that?
Yes, sir.
And did you find any fingerprints on that item?
Yes, I did.
And how did you collect that?
With a piece of tape and a white fingerprint card.
And did you so you did a fingerprint card that night from the fingerprints that you found on E10?
Yes.
And did you bring that with you today?
Yes, I did.
Or and so that's in your possession up there?
Yes, it's up here.
And so once you collected it on that evening, what's the chain of custody? Like, where does it go once you collected it?
After we go back to our office, we fill out all the information on the jacket, and then it gets placed into a lock, like a secure lockbox at the central substation, and it stays there until it gets picked up by somebody from the fingerprint, the ID unit.
Okay, and you call this a latent jacket?
Yeah, print jacket, like a
Okay.
print jacket.
And I've just marked this as State Exhibit 20, but do you recognize this? Is this the one from that evening?
Yes, it is. It's my handwriting.
And do you recognize this receipt?
Yes, this is a receipt I signed from. This is a receipt I signed receiving this print jacket from a representative from the ID unit.
Okay, and so just to clear it up for us a little bit, so you took these fingerprints that night and then submitted them to the latent print examiners, and you received them back today.
Yes.
Your Honor, pending any objection from defense, I move to admit State's Exhibit 20 into evidence. You
It appears to be a jacket. Just need to know, is it the outside jacket or the contents of it that has been admitted? So I know what the objective is.
All right. Well, I don't have the item number, so
Could we approach?
Yes, sir.
so you're admitting,
Like to know the contents that are the prints that were taken on.
so you're admitting the outside envelope plus the contents? He says he wants to admit the envelope with its contents. You want to put that on the record so the record can be clear?
Yes, ma'am.
So at this point,
Oh, well, just a second. If we can put on the record what he's admitting so the record can be clear. And if you want to question the witness. Oh, and when you all object, it's a bench trial. You all don't have to, I know it's habit. It's a hard habit to break.
At the end of the quarter, we're gonna be
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Stride, I need to talk to you a little bit more. Does is there a case number on this?
Yes.
And does that case number match your report?
Yes, it does.
Okay, and what's contained inside?
These are the print cards of that I collected from this scene, from the items from this scene.
And how do you know that?
Each card is filled out with the address, the case number, where the prints were obtained from, the date, the time, and then my name, my badge.
Your Honor, pending objection from the defense, I move to admit states non-between and the contents.
All right, defense. Yeah.
Uh,
What is the objection?
Is it, well, at this point, Judge, I like, take a look at the print card, and in addition to that, I start with questioning the envelope, because if it's gonna be one exhibit, the envelope, there's some objection to, and the content.
Just 1 second. Could you, just 1 second, if I could have parties approach?
So Robbie, can you tell me what's inside this envelope?
Yes, inside are seven latent print cards.
Okay. And if you wouldn't mind pulling those out for me. And so what's that one right there? What's that first one?
This one is from the safe keypad, item E10.
So 20A is the safe keypad. All right, what's next there?
This one's taken from the exterior of the bedroom window.
Okay, so 20B is the exterior of the bedroom window. All right, what's that there?
This next one is the battery for the safe keypad.
Battery, okay, so 20C is the battery for the safe keypad. What's that one?
Another safe keypad.
So 20D is the safe keypad. What is that one there?
This one is from 11.5 inch screwdriver, item E11.
20E is the 11.5 inch screwdriver, which is E11.
This is from the TV in the living room.
So 20F is the TV in the living room. And what's that there?
This was from bags found on the kitchen counter.
So 20G, the bags on the kitchen counter. Sure. And on each of these, on 20A through 20G, does that cause number, the case number rather, does that correspond to anything on those documents?
Yes, it's the same case number.
Can you read off your case number?
Yes, SAPD 20154766.
Thank you. All right, this time I move to admit States Exhibit 20A, 20B, 20C, 20D, I'm sorry, 20D, E, F, and G, as well as States Exhibit 20, which is the envelope.
Can I take the witness on what I said?
Yes.
Okay. Now, sir, when you were shown State Exhibit number 20, correct?
Yes,
And this is the envelope. Okay. Now, with reference to this envelope here, is all the writing on this envelope, is it yours?
all of it, no.
No. On the rear of that same envelope, there appear to be some dates on it. Did you write that information on the envelope?
No, sir.
So my first objection, Judge, is with reference to the envelope that State Exhibit number 20 comes in. If the witness cannot testify as to the markings on the envelope, my objection to that would be hearsay in reference to this witness. Writing on it it's not his writing. In addition to that, Judge, there's some indication of a line for the complainant. If this witness doesn't have personal knowledge, that's going to be hearsay. In addition to that, Judge, the type of offense that's listed on here is not what my client is being charged with in this case, based on the indictment. So we would object to that also.
All right, objection is overruled. States Exhibit 20 and the contents 20A through G is admitted.
Well, Judge, if when you talk about the contents, then that's something different because.
Are you is your objection?
My objections at first is just to the envelope.
All right, States Exhibit number 20 is admitted over objection.
Okay. Now, in terms of number State Exhibit number like it's 20G, it looks like with reference bags from a table, 20F, from the living room. Let me ask the witness this question, if I can continue. How many prints did you lift from that particular resident that evening?
How many individual fingerprints?
Correct.
I'm not sure how many individual fingerprints, but I lifted 7 cards worth of potential latent prints.
Okay. Well, are these the prints that were actually in say exhibit number 20? Are these all the prints that you lifted, or did you lift other prints too?
Those are the only ones that I lifted
Okay.
and submitted.
All right. So my position is at this point to allow these in, we don't even know if it's relevant. We don't know if it's relevant to my client or somebody else. I mean, these prints could belong to anyone until we establish some type of relevancy, Judge. My position is that we're going to object to this point based on relevancy, based on the hearsay nature, because there's all type of writing on these prints that I can actually detect whether they're his writing. I believe part of all these writings on these fingerprint card yours,
Some of it is, yes,
but then that means some of it is not, correct?
correct.
Okay, the same thing. So we haven't established a relevancy to my client, Judge. So I would object to State Exhibit number 20 and the contents of State Exhibit number 20 based on that.
All right. Objection is overruled. States exhibits 20A through G is admitted.
Along with the information that says it's some other type of extraneous offense and not a burglary that's come into.
States exhibits 20A through G are admitted.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes. All right, state any more questions for this witness?
Yeah, Your Honor, I pass the witness.
Defense?
Yes. Sir, what time did you arrive at the scene?
I'm sorry, can you repeat
What
that?
time did you arrive at the scene? You say you were part of the crime scene, crime scene technicians or officers, sorry. What time did you arrive at this scene that night?
I arrived at 2359.
Okay. Can you put that in just regular civilian time?
11:59 p.m.
So you got there at 11:59. Now, when you arrived at the scene, were there officers at the scene?
Yes,
Where you testified with reference to the yellow placards, cards that were certain parts of the photographs that you looked at. And did you place those placards down, the crime scene numbers?
yes,
Those were placards that you placed?
yes, sir.
Okay. So when you arrived at the scene, then did you make the determination as to what items would be classified as evidentiary in nature? Or did someone else kind of point to you, you should take a picture of this, or they wanted you to try if you can get prints from somewhere? Who made that decision?
The handling detective on scene.
Okay. So when you get to the scene, you speak to a detective, correct?
First, I speak to an officer to just kind of learn, what happened. And then when the detectives arrive, then I meet with them on scene, and then they kind of direct me what they're requesting as evidence.
Okay. Now, in terms of lifting prints, there's is this something that you get kind of like on the job training for, or do you have to go to specific places to get training in terms of lifting latent?
I learned how to lift latent prints in college. And then also I got additional training on lifting latent prints once I was hired with the department. And then after that initial training, just doing it in the course of my day-to-day job, I just gained more experience lifting latent prints that way.
Okay, so is it a training where you have to you're evaluated by someone and to make sure that you're doing everything correctly, or is a situation that, well, once you started, you just kind of train yourself?
No, we're evaluated.
Okay, you get some type of certification?
Not a certification specifically for latent prints, but we're certified in just general evidence collection, latent prints and evidence packaging, just kind of the overall nature of the job.
Okay, so your initial training come from where?
I guess my initial training started in college, university.
Okay, so was that just a class, a required class, or just kind of?
It was a required class for a bachelor's in criminal justice, forensic science.
All right. So when you get your bachelor's degree, you don't get a special certification in lifting latent prints, do you?
No, sir.
Okay. So your first job is with SAPD?
No, my very first job.
Correct, after you finished college?
Yeah, no, it was not with SAPD.
Oh. Was it with some other police agency?
No.
Excuse me, just one second. Is this a witness for you all? Oh, okay. All right, thank you. All right, you may continue.
Okay, some other police agency?
No, I've never worked for another police agency.
Okay, so you come to SAPD, and is it specific training or courses that they put you through to be a latent, be a person that could lift latent things?
It's not a particular like a course that we have to take, but there's a segment of our just kind of overall job training that we spend doing latent print lifting.
Now, are you able to lift prints from any surface?
No, not any surface.
Some surface you can't lift them from, or it's difficult to lift them.
Correct.
And there are different techniques for lifting prints, aren't there?
Yes, sir.
What are there like 2 or 3 main methods for lifting latent prints?
I'm not sure what you mean by main methods.
Well, the standard
I guess the standard one is going to be black powder and a brush. That was the one we use most often.
okay, but you use other kinds, do you have?
Yes, we have several other kinds, different types of powder, different types of brushes, and then just different chemicals that we can use to develop prints. And it depends on what item that we're trying to get prints from.
It's fair to say that when you see the print, if you're trying to lift a latent, can you always see that latent? Well, see what you believe may be a latent print with your naked eye?
Before we process it, or before we process the item, no.
Because sometimes you can't see it with your naked eye.
Yes, they're latent prints, so we have to develop them
So
before
the
we can lift them.
process. I'm sorry. And it's fair to say that sometimes prints are legible, or you're able to lift the latent. Sometimes it's fair to say that you may not get enough of a latent to perhaps somebody else make any type of identification. Is that fair statement?
Yes.
Are you trained in the science of why a latent print is left on a surface?
Can you explain what you mean by trained?
Well, I mean, in terms of your training, were you ever educated in what is necessary for a person to leave a latent print, or how that is done?
Oh, yes.
And when a person touches, say, a surface, say a hard surface, will they always leave a latent print? Or no, or do you know?
I do not know for sure.
What, do you know what we secrete, if we secrete anything that leaves the latent print?
Just the natural oils and sweat of our skin.
And are you able to tell when you lift a print, how long the print has been on the surface?
No.
So it's fair to say that, say, under ideal conditions, a print could be left on the surface for a week.
I don't believe in ideal situations, prints would last that long without being lifted in that time frame.
Okay. So what is the science? If you say it can't be done, then what is the science? Does the oils, do they just evaporate and you can't get a print, or is there some other type of science that precludes a print to be left on the surface?
It either evaporates or it gets absorbed into whatever surface it is. If it's a porous surface, it could get some of the print could get absorbed by the item, or it could get brushed off if it gets rubbed against something or anything like that.
But if it's not disrupted, I mean, in terms of brushed off or smeared on a hard surface, like a plastic surface,
Yeah,
it
it
doesn't
could
absorb.
evaporate.
Could evaporate. But it could stay on the surface, correct?
It could stay. As far as how long, I do not know.
You don't know. When- So you said, so scientifically, you can tell
I couldn't tell.
how long.
How long, correct.
Of print, on the surface, correct?
Correct.
All right, I'll pass with you.
State.
No question, Your Honor.
All right, the rule has been invoked. What that means is you cannot discuss your testimony with anyone. The only persons you're allowed to speak to are attorneys for the state of the defense.
Okay.
All right, you may step down.
Thank you.
All right, everyone, I'm going to give the court reporter a 5-minute or so break, and then that'll give Mr. Simmons time to talk to whoever he needs to talk to concerning his client that's in the box.
And we observe
So tomorrow is our motion to revoke docket, and on that docket, it's people who are on probation. Maybe they haven't done something that they were supposed to do on probation. And if they haven't done that, then probation will let the state know, maybe this person hasn't reported, maybe this person didn't do their drug test or have not done their classes. Sometimes it's people who owe restitution for thefts and they haven't paid off their restitution. So what will end up happening is probation will let the state know. The state will file a motion to revoke. And the motion to revoke, it's a document. It'll tell what they're on probation for, how long they were supposed to be on probation. And then within the motion, it will have the violations, and each violation has a specific number to it. So when you become attorneys, if you decide to do that, if somebody says your client violated his probation, they say it's a new number one, you'll know. For here in Bexar County, a new number one is mean they picked up a new criminal charge. And usually 5 and 4s are not reporting. And when you get into the double digits, maybe 14 and 15, sometimes that has to do with treatment. Sometimes it has to do with restitution, but there are specific numbers assigned to whatever is being alleged that maybe your client didn't do. So we do that on Thursday, and we also have PSIs or sentencings. And that's people who have entered pleas, and then they're coming to me to find out whether I'm going to send them to prison or not, or whether I'm going to give them probation or not, or if I give them probation, what their condition's going to be. So on Thursday, we do that. And then right now we're in the middle of a bench trial, but they're in the back talking. So we'll see if this is going to continue or if they're going to work something out. And that's what's happening today. Usually we have jury trials. It's very rare that people have bench trials. But in my court, I think people know me by now. If I find that somebody's guilty, then I'm going to find them guilty. If I think the state hasn't proven their case, I'm going to find them not guilty. And for me, it doesn't matter if it's a capital murder or whatever. If the state doesn't prove it and they're doing a bench trial before me, it'll be a not guilty verdict. Of course, if they prove it, it'll be a guilty verdict. But it's rare that you have defendants who want a judge to have a bench trial for them, because sometimes people think, oh my gosh, the judge is not going to listen to this. But usually it's best to go for a bench trial for a judge. Sometimes if there's a technical issue, maybe somebody did something, but there is a little technical glitch in it. And maybe you think a jury is not going to follow that rule and ignore that, because it's very hard to get an appellate court to overturn convictions when it's from a jury. So if you go to the appellate court and look at all the decision, it's rare that the appellate court will go behind a jury's verdict. That's why you see a lot of people saying, oh, it's actual innocence. And it's very rare too that they'll go behind a judge's ruling. That's the other thing. When you have a bench trial with the judge, it's hard to get those overturned unless there is something, in layman's term, I would say, really outrageous that the judge has done. So usually they'll like jury trials for that point. You guys have any questions about anything? Now's to ask any question you have. You sure? All right. So when is prom? Because you guys, you say junior, senior, has that already passed?
It starts. Yeah, we start school.
Okay.
How was it?
I'm telling you, prom is so different. When I was growing up, Diana, now at prom, people are doing these elaborate asking people to the prom. When I was growing up, it's, hey, you want to go to the prom with me? And that was it.
I did not.
I didn't either. No, I was asked, but and the guy was very nice. He actually did a card and everything. But you know why? It's expensive.
Yeah.
And
$80. I was anti-social, so I was like, I'm good.
they're in the back. No, my thing was, I knew I was going to college and I was trying to save as much money as possible. So in my mind, I was thinking, okay, a prom dress is going to cost this amount of money. My mom has already paid for me to go to a cotillion. So that was 2 dresses. And I only did that because they were giving out scholarships. So everything I went to that I had to expend money, I would always say, is this going to be a scholarship? So otherwise, I really didn't go. And I even had someone give me a music box. Still have my little music box, but prom is expensive. And now these elaborate asking people to prom, it costs money just to ask somebody to prom. You know?
No.
Hmm?
Imagine if they say no.
Oh my gosh. People should not be saying no since they're doing that elaborate thing. But I just took you in a ride in a helicopter. No, I'm not going to prom. Mhm. And dresses are now super expensive for prom.
Clothes, if you're shopping already.
The worst thing about for me going to the cotillion was you had to get a white dress. And it was very hard to find a white dress. I had to actually, well, I didn't, my mom actually went to David's Bridal and I had to get a wedding dress and have them trim it and do all this extra to it. Yes. And then the next year, and they gave me a scholarship for that. And then the next year there was another one. And my mom was saying, my baby's not wearing the same dress she wore last time. I'm like, it's okay. No, my baby's not. So we had to go back to David's Bridal. And this time they did that thing where you could hitch the train to the back. And that way, if you wanted to, you could sell it as a wedding dress.
Well, that's nice.
And did my mom end up selling it? No, my mom gave it away to someone who needed it for their cotillion. Yeah. But it was awesome. So, well, good luck, guys. Whenever you all need anything, if you need anything from me, or you want to come in or ask me questions about anything, just let me know.
Thank you.
And if you guys want some snacks, there's some snacks in the back. We have healthy snacks. So there's some organic animal crackers
Oh.
and they taste organic, and some veggie straws.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have that. And I think we have Mott's gummies or something.
Thank you, guys.
You're welcome. Stop by anytime. Thank you.
I'm gonna go with the lady.
All right. Now my email has shut down. All right, everyone, let me know when you're done with that plea paperwork and we'll take it up.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
I know, right?
Oh, please be seated. All right, we'll do this plea and then state you can call your next witness.
Thank you.
Right. Mr. Hinger? Court is calling 2023 CR 5581, State of Texas versus Ward Sam Heener. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state? Defense? Are you Mr. Heener? Counsel, have you received all the discovery? Did you review it with your client?
Yes, Your Honor.
Court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Mr. Heener, I'm showing you what's entitled True Bill of Indictment. Did you review that with your attorney?
Yes.
Did you understand it?
Yes.
Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
Yes.
State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
State's proceeding as to count one, waiving count two, and the enhancement allegation.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
Mr. Heener, I'm showing you what's entitled Court Admonishments and Defendant's Waivers and Affidavit of Admonitions. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in all the appropriate places? All right, you're gonna have to make sure you speak up.
Yes.
All right, did you understand you're charged with the offense of injury to a disabled person, bodily injury in count one? That's a third-degree felony. The range of punishment is anywhere from 2 to 10 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine. Did you understand? If you have a plea bargain agreement with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea. If for any reason the court doesn't follow your plea and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand? Did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call in the right to remain silent? Did you understand by entering this plea bargain agreement, you were giving up those rights? Did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea in this case? No, my question is, did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea in this cause number? Listen to me carefully. Did you intend to give up those rights? Yes or no?
Yes.
And do you wish to continue with the plea?
Yes.
Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you believe he has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against him?
My opinion, he does, Your Honor.
Do you believe he's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense?
Yes, Your
Mr. Heener, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in? Let me finish my sentence or my question, okay? Has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter this plea? Has anyone promised you anything other than the plea? Are you satisfied with the way you've been represented? Are you a U.S. citizen? Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to jury trial, showing you the plea bargain page. Did you review that page with your attorney? Did you understand it? According to the plea, the state is proceeding on count one. They're asking that your punishments be assessed at 3 years in the prison. There are no applications. There's an affirmative finding of family violence, and there's to be no contact with Dawn Elaine Smith. Did you understand that to be the plea? Did you understand with an affirmative finding of family violence, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition? Did you understand with an affirmative finding of family violence, you're not allowed to be designated as primary custodial parent? Did you understand that to be the plea? Defense, is that the plea? State, is that the plea?
Yes.
Showing you the waiver of appeal paragraph. Did you review that paragraph with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in all the appropriate places? Did you understand by signing that you're waiving your right to appeal? The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand? Counsel, have there been any such motions? Then to count one in the indictment, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest? State any evidence?
State offers states exhibit on all this.
Showing you what's entitled waiver and consent to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in all the appropriate places? Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call in the right to remain silent? Did you understand that today the state would be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements and police reports, but most importantly, there will be no live testimony? Did you understand? Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence states exhibits 1 and attachments and review the same. All right. Who is the complainant in the repeat offender enhancement allegation? Sure.
I know the complainant in this case was complaining on the previous misdemeanor adult family violence.
Okay.
I'm unsure of who the other complainant was. The complaint in that case was Joy Mole, Moul. That's all we had on the sheet. Unfortunately, I don't have any notes in from that case. So I'm unaware of what the relationship was.
What year? Is this-
2007. All right, can we go off the record for a moment? All right. So my understanding is that the plea agreement now is for 4 years. Is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
All right. And Mr. Heener, you're understanding that the plea agreement now is 4 years? All right. After reviewing State's Exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty, and the court will find you guilty. Are proceeding with sentencing?
Yes.
Anything you wish to say on behalf of your client?
Just pray that the court follow the agreement. He understands he has not been forced to deciding anything. He is signing he's willing to do the 4 years. Yeah, he's willing to do the 4 years, and he's voluntarily signed on the court. So we would ask that the court follow the
All right. The court will find you guilty, sentence you to 4 years in the prison, give you credit for any time served. There's an affirmative finding of family violence, and there's no contact with Don Elaine, Elain Smith. If you would prefer, I can ask that you be placed in the therapeutic community. Whether you're placed in the therapeutic community or not is completely up to them. I don't have any jurisdiction over them, but I can request it, and you'll have to ask for it as well. It appears from reading the stipulations that there's a lot of alcohol that was involved. So would you like me to request the therapeutic community for you? All right, and I'll request the therapeutic community. Going to show you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it? And did you sign it? I'm sorry?
Yes.
Because this is a plea bargaining agreement, because I followed your plea bargaining agreement, and because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Because this is a felony conviction and also an affirmative finding of family violence, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question about what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to an attorney. Do you understand? All right, we can go off the record. How old are you? All right, so you're about to turn 50 and have your birthday either at the Bear County Jail or at the prison. You're gonna have to start changing your ways because your history is not what it should be. And if you cannot be in a relationship, a healthy relationship, then maybe you should not be in a relationship. Okay, yeah, but here's the thing. No. Here's the thing. I understand that people have drama and trauma in their past, and I acknowledge that. But that does not mean that because you've had drama or trauma in your past, then you get to inflict it upon innocent people. Do you understand? All right, good luck to you. Yes, thank you so much for coming in. Dinah, you ready to go back on the record on this menstrual? All right, we're going to go back on the record on 2021 CR 5583. Could I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Hank Wilkins and Daniel Escobar for the state, and we're ready, Judge.
Defense?
Juanita Scott's judging as far as we're ready.
All right, state, if you'll call your next witness.
Your Honor, state calls Shannon Standifer.
All right, this is going to be the issue where you need to have a hearing on whether or not the state is allowed to have his fingerprints. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. So before we get into your issue about whether or not she can actually take his fingerprints for comparison, I'll let the state prove up her credentials and all of that. And then when we get to the point where she takes fingerprints from him, then we can hear your motion. All right. If you could raise your right hand, do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, if you'll lower your hand, state your name for the record and spell it, please.
Shannon Standifer, Shannon Standifer.
All right, state.
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon, Ms. Standifer. What is your current occupation?
I'm a latent fingerprint examiner for the City of San Antonio Police Department.
And how long have you done that for SAPD?
With SAPD, just about 12 and a half years.
Okay, and where did you work before SAPD?
Before SAPD, I worked for the Maryland Department of Public Safety and Corrections and the San Angelo, Texas Police Department.
So how long have you been a latent print examiner?
Just a little over 19 years.
Okay, and do you have a special training in that field?
I have over 700 hours of training in fingerprint comparison.
You gave me your CV earlier. You've done training throughout your career.
Yes,
And have you testified in court about on the subject of latent prints
yes, I have.
more than once?
More than 20 times.
Just briefly, can you tell the court if you've ever have you ever found two people that have the same fingerprint?
No,
Have you ever heard about two people having the same fingerprint?
no.
Can you tell the court what an inked print is?
An ink print is a set of prints that are recorded on a card using ink to identify a person so that you have all 10 fingers recorded on a card using ink.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
Yes.
I'm showing you what's been marked, States Exhibit 20. As well as 20A through G. Can you tell us what these are?
This is what we call a latent jacket. It's an envelope that holds the lifted latent cards from crime scenes.
And so, for 20A, can you tell us what that card is?
This is a card lifted by CSI David Sarabia from Safe Keypad E10.
And, but is there an assignment number in each of these cards, on each of these cards?
For me, the assignment number was EVI 00844436.
Oh, okay. I'd like to show you what I've marked as, States Exhibit 21. Can you, explain to us what that is?
This is a copy of a latent fingerprint report that I wrote on August 18th, 2020.
And does this report, is this report having to do with exhibits, States Exhibits 20A through 20G?
It has to do with just 20A.
20A, okay. And did you prepare this report?
I did.
That a very accurate representation of your observations from your work?
Yes.
let's see.
Your Honor, pending any objection, I move to admit States Exhibit 21.
My objection is the out of court statement.
All right. Oh, the witness has already testified that those are the prints, the latent prints that you received from Detective Sarabia. I'm going to, and it is hearsay in here, and it doesn't appear to be a scientific report to the court, unless is this a scientific report?
I would say no. You're asking me.
I don't think this is a scientific report. It appears to just be State's Exhibit number 21 just appears to be a document saying that the witness on the stand reviewed the latent prints collected by Detective Sarabia and that she compared them. So I'm going to sustain the objection to State's Exhibit number 21 as being hearsay. Okay, thank you.
Tell us, when you receive these, what's the process when you receive these cards?
The first thing we do when we receive the latent cards is to check to see if there are any legible latents. And if we have any listed suspects for a particular case, we would check to see if they have any fingerprints on file. On this particular case, I did not have any listed suspect, so the prints went into our automated fingerprint identification system.
Okay. And were you able to, using that automated system, were you able to match these fingerprints to any person, any individual?
Yes, I was able to identify.
Objection. Objection hearsay. Judge.
Right.
Because if whatever this automated system is, we haven't gotten any documents in terms of system, function of the system, And if it's gonna say something, even if it's artificial intelligence, that we need to be able to.
So what is your objection, your legal
That
objection?
it would be hearsay too.
All right. If you want to lay the foundation state, and your objection will be sustained, not as to hearsay, but sustained as to foundation.
So tell us a little bit more about that, is that APHIS?
Yeah, in this case, it was the Texas State APHIS system.
Okay, and what is that?
It's a database of known fingerprints and unknown fingerprints, where, as a latent examiner, I enter the unknown fingerprints and would search those fingerprints against the known fingerprints and the unknown fingerprints in hopes to identify prints from crime scenes.
Okay, and so that information comes to you and be able to compare that information from the APHIS systems to these cards.
Now, I received a list of candidates, 20 candidates, and I determined one of those candidates on the list was a good possible ID for the latent in question. So from that point, I went and printed the fingerprints out from the APHIS system. And I did a manual comparison between the latent print and the known print.
And did you come to any conclusion to compare those two?
Yes, I determined that the latent print
My
from,
objection before she answers that question, Judge. I still object to it in terms of the foundation and the witnesses testified reference receiving a group of possible suspects from a list. We have not received any such list through the discovery process, Judge. In my position is that the witness is testifying with reference to items that she may or may not use that we should have gotten, we should be privy.
All right, state, with regards to discovery, did they receive any discovery related to the persons that were produced from her search?
We did use the latent fingerprint report. But we didn't have access to the.
All right, do you have the other results from APHIS?
I do, it's not, we've never attached that information. It's usually just. Sure I have. This is has the list of the
All right.
first 5 on this side and the other 15. on
So
this
this
side.
is what we're gonna do. We're gonna take a short recess. Mr. Cox, you have a chance to look over that and we will go from there. All right, everyone, we're gonna take a recess.
Both sides. You. It's just a different view, and that's just a different.
All right. Are you able to come back tomorrow?
No, I'm not. I'm off tomorrow. I have a doctor's appointment
All right. When will you be able to come back?
Monday.
All right. So this is what I'm going to do because it appears that there are some items that have just been turned over to the defense. And I don't believe that the state was aware of these items. So we're going to come back on Monday and defense that will give you a chance to look over that. If you are going to need more time than Monday, let the court know. That's the good thing about a bench trial is it can be extended. My mind is a steel trap, so I will remember everything that has been told to me. So I'm going to give you all a reset for Monday. And you all will have to be here Monday. I'm going to put you down at Monday at 11:30, although we may not start till 1:30, but I'm going to put you for 11:30 just so I can see where you are with this information. All right. Is there anything else? All right. So if you can make sure you're back here Monday at 11:30, is that doable for you?
Sure.
All right. Thank you so much. Oh, one other thing, rules been invoked. You can't
Yes.
discuss your testimony with anyone, only attorneys for the state or the defense.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, before she leaves, does anyone need to talk to her about her findings?
Well, we'd like to,
All right, so we are done for today and we'll be back for court tomorrow at 9 a.m.